Hi everybody, looks like we're live. I'm gonna go ahead and get my computer booted up here. Welcome to live. I guess we call this Friday Fun with Bonnie live. And I have a lot of things. Well, actually, I don't have that much today. So I'm really hoping that I can interact with more of you. Um, it's very, very windy here. So it looks like my FedEx truck actually just pulled up. I'm gonna have to maybe, can you hold on just a second? I will be right with you guys. I've been waiting for this shipment all day long and they said it would be here before 12, and wouldn't you know, it's right here at 12 o'clock. I'll be right back. Um, See you in just a second. I'm back. All right, everybody. I am so sorry about that. Had a FedEx delivery that was supposed to come no later than 12. Of course, he's right here at 12:01. Not convenient, not convenient, Federal Express. I am not going to endorse you, but I am glad I got the package. And it was a very important package, not yarn related. And since my mother-in-law's confined to the wheelchair, it's probably best that she not answer the door with strangers about. So let me go ahead and refresh my screen here. Like I said a few seconds ago, it's very windy here. We had a lot of storms blow through last night, yesterday, and I'm looking at the mailbox outside. The mailbox lid keeps getting blown open because I mean we had up to in some places like 60-mile-an-hour winds. Thankfully, I mean we're fine. I mean no damage. I really was thinking a lot about you all in the South. Seeing some of those images coming in over the news was a little disheartening. So I hope you guys are okay. So okay, it looks like I am up here. I do have some folks in the chat. Thank you for your patience. Oh my gosh, we've got a lot of people. See, Kathy Breyer, thank you for joining us today. She says she's not going to miss it this time. Okay, she's working on the cable throw and sweater. Wow, I hope you're not too busy with all that, but glad you could join me with those projects, Kathy. These have been some of the most favorite things I've done all year. Cynthia Pitts, thanks for joining. Kathy says she's doing great. Having some sun. Yeah, we got some sun out there right now, but it's a little deceptive. You think, oh, it looks so beautiful, beautiful sky, fluffy clouds floating by, and then that wind of about 50 degrees, which is, again, for winter, this is amazing. But if you go out with just the shirt without a jacket on, you go back in the house and get a jacket because it's a little chilly. Good morning to you, Barbara, or good afternoon. She says she set an alarm on her phone. Yeah, boy, I tell you what would we do without our phones? I was actually it's been kind of an interesting morning. I was with my mother-in-law. She had an appointment this morning, and just being there with her and, just, using the phone for our appointments for the future and everything. I mean, I was one of the latest holdouts on those things. I had my little flip phone until you know, it finally gave up the ghost. I mean, this was like after everybody else had their iPhones and Samsungs and whatnot, but I live by mine now. I mean, I don't check it all the time, but it's just a great way to stay in touch with my friends and my, particularly my children who are spread up and down the eastern seaboard at this point. Becky is joining us. Thank you, Becky, for moderating for us and keeping us all safe. Let's see. Is it Uchi? Uchi, am I saying that right? From Germany. Thank you for joining us. Guten Tag to you over in your beautiful, beautiful country. Bunny Sue, hello. Thanks for joining. Sander, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the last name because I know I won't do it right, but she's from Amsterdam. Thank you for joining us today. And see, Discovering Hope says there's a snowstorm in Rochester, New York, and glad to be here. Thank you for joining us. I have to tell you, I got a little text this morning from my daughter-in-law in Georgia, down actually not too far from where Becky was. Becky is currently moderating for us. And they had snow flurries. Becky, do you guys have snow flurries still there? Or is it just kind of a, I think it was just like a cloud going by, but it's not a common occurrence for, you know, snow flurries all the way down there. And Becky says no snow. She wants snow. Becky grew up sledding down our back hill and building giant snowmans and snow forts. So I bet Becky misses some of that white fluffy stuff, don't you, hon? Let's see, Patsy from Illinois, and she says she's got the sun shining for her. That's so good. And Racine Jackson, thank you for joining us today. And Kathleen, let's see, yeah, Becky says she wants snow. Go ahead, send it to her, but you don't have to send it to South Carolina. We're okay. We're good without for a little while. I'm actually going to be flying back home on Wednesday, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that, just to touch base, go to some doctor appointments, and see my sweet husband. I haven't seen him in a while, and my sweet daughter Hannah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to affect our broadcast next week, though, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's see. Ooh, Kathy says that her daughter woke up in Queensbury, New York, to freezing rain. Oh gosh, that's not good stuff. My favorite pastor used to say, "We're not afraid of snow, but ice we respect." When it came to canceling services, and I do not like ice. The older I get, the worse it can get. You know, one little slip and fall, and that's all it takes. So do hope she's safe and being careful, Kathy. And that stuff takes down trees. A lot of times you'll get that kind of freezing rain in the Carolinas or in Georgia, down where Becky and her husband are, and you know, that's brutal. People up north may laugh, oh, it's just a little bit of snow or a little bit of ice, but no. When it takes down the trees and takes down power lines, it just creates a mess. So I hope we don't see too much of that. And Lynn's in the chat here. Thank you for joining me, Lynn. Good morning to you, friend. Let's see. We have Brittany. Oh my goodness, a lot of people. And just to let you know, I don't have a huge agenda today. So I'm just going to enjoy trying to read as many of these comments as I can. I can't promise to get to all your questions, but if you have any questions, please try to submit them, and I will try to get through as many as I can today. This is all about your agenda, not mine necessarily this time around. I'm going to try to, you know, go to more of a format like that, but I just really like telling you guys the news that I have, if I have any. I see Manon is in the group chat. Just wanted to say hi from Drummondville. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Carrie from Greenwood, Delaware. I bet you're cold up there, Carrie. We had, yeah, that cold front is here. And Sandra says she finished her pattern for her crochet bag. Yay. I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about, Sandra, but maybe it's just I'm in a little bit of a fog, but I am so glad you're able to finish a project. Anytime we finish a project, it is so much fun. Um, okay, so Sanders says he's doing fine. He's a male crocheter. Sorry about that. And thanks for joining us. We guys are welcome here. I promise you. I my son Joseph actually learned how to crochet just long enough to figure it out and decided that he would move on. But you know, he's just always intrigued, and you know, some of the best. Anyway, guys are welcome here. It's I don't believe it's an exclusively female craft at all. Um, let's see, Sheila Dale. Thank you for joining us, and let's see who else we got. I just saw a bunch of them skip ahead. So Brat's mom is with us, and Pamela from Kirkland, Washington, and we have somebody, Kathy, in Florida, in Fruit Cove, Florida. I guess that's along the west coast, because that doesn't ring a bell with me having traveled up and down the east coast. I'm guessing that's mid-state or east or west coast, right, Kathy? All right. So we have Tracy from Hartlepool in Great Britain. Wow. Thank you for joining us. I know you guys are getting ready to eat supper or have your evening tea, I guess. And Grandma Benny says it's not snowing in Maine, but lots of ice. Oh, I bet it's cold up there. And we have Brittany from Ohio. They went from freezing rain to snow. Wow. What's funny, we had like 72 degrees here 2 days ago, and it was great. I was wearing t-shirts. I didn't bring any shorts or capris, but was doing mighty fine in a t-shirt. But we're back to layering up again. Let's see, we have Adriana from Pomona, California. They got, I guess, got California snowstorms there, high wind advisory. Yeah, I'm really glad I'm not flying today, that's for sure, or last night. Whew. Hopefully there won't be a lot of storms next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I'm actually flying back up to Maryland, into BWI. Anybody there going to be at BWI next Wednesday? Maybe we can do lunch there. Okay, Carrie has a question. She's trying to make a king-size blanket using a 4-weight yarn. You mean 4-weight? Okay, from Red Heart. Okay, and number 4. Okay, the reason I'm questioning the number 4 is in Europe, a lot of times they'll say 4-ply, and it really means more like a thinner weight. But a number 4 in the U.S. of Red Heart, yeah, that's worsted weight yarn. Do I have any patterns or tutorials on how to make this one big? Carrie, if you're talking about the current crochet along that we're working on, yes, I do. A lot of people ask that question a lot of times. Well, how do I make it bigger? How do I make it smaller? And I try to answer them as best I can, but you all understand that I just don't have the time in the day to like completely redesign things here and there. And I know that's not what Carrie's asking. Carrie's, I think you're looking for the multiple of stitches. So what you can do with this one, and the reason this, I'm going to give you the multiple, it's not a straight up multiple of 24, okay? But what I usually tell people is you can add multiples of 24 to the existing starting chain, okay? And there's lots of reasons for me to state it that way. So take the number that's already there, that's your starting chain, and you can add multiples of 24 to that for the width. And when it comes to the length, you probably won't have to add, well, too much to the length. But if you do, add it in the wider, the wider paneled sections. You obviously can't add it in the little divider sections, but you can just do another, another pattern of the stitches that you want to enhance or elongate. So that's my simple answer. I hope that's sufficient. But I would love to see a picture of this when you're done, if you do that. And of course, you're going to need probably 2 to 3 times the yarn for that. But that's a great idea. I would love to make something like that. Just not this week. So we have Jan from DC. Hi, neighbor. we'll have to get together sometime. Let's see, Ruth in Phoenix, Arizona. Linda says she has freezing rain in Maine. That kind of rhymes. Okay, so Sandra says she made up a pattern for a crochet bag for a friend. And there was no pattern, just a picture. Well, good for you. You must be, you're really smart. Good for you, Sandra. And is it Aisha Flores? Am I saying that? I'm probably mispronouncing that. I'm sorry, sweetheart, if I'm doing that. She says she likes the recent blanket Afghan. Yeah, join in the fun if you can. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I keep all the links in the video description below. And I always forget this. If you've not been to my channel before, please take a look. And if you could hit the thumbs up, that really helps this post to go further and hopefully reach more crocheters and get them in on some of this fun that we're talking about. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be great. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. We're up to 92,000 subscribers as of this week. So thank you, thank you, thank you, as they say in sign language. Thank you, thank you, thank you, for supporting me and for, for just liking the stuff and just being so faithful. The blanket that I was trying to answer a question about with Sandra, I believe. This is called the Colorful Cables Throw. There's a better picture of it online, and you can look at the video description below, and there are a lot of links about this if you want to look for the pattern. You can get lots of really good pictures on this. But we are in the middle. We just started last week, video number 1 of this crochet along. It goes for 4 weeks. Of course, you can take as much time as you want to make this Afghan. Now, I needed to update you, or I'll just reiterate what I said last week about the yarn availability. And I have some good news and some bad news. I'll give you the bad news. I was a little bit frustrated to tell you this, but the yarn, it looks like where Lovecrafts gets their yarn, they are dependent on a supplier that, sells it to them somehow. And for whatever reason, it's going to be delayed quite a bit longer. So to the point where it's not really going to be dependable on ordering just the packs. Like the colorway that I use for this particular Afghan is called Wanderlust. We're using the Paintbox acrylic yarn that they carry. It's really nice yarn, guys. It's like I said, I've gone through 19 complete balls of this yarn, scans of this yarn, and not even one knot in it. It's just very, very consistent yarn. But they're having, I guess, an issue with supplies to the U.S. If you're in the UK and in Europe, you have no problem. This yarn is totally available to you right now. But I think maybe we may have even caused the shortage. I don't know. But there is a shortage of certain colors. So you can't just click the link and buy 2 packs of two of the 10 packs. You do need approximately 19 scans of yarn for this. So like I said last week, let me go ahead and give you my plan of attack. If you want to use the exact same colorway that I did, I have all this information in the video description. So let's tell you what, I'm just going to say, look in the video description for all the list of the colors. And the missing colors are the vanilla cream, which is kind of a one of the off-white colors, Stormy Gray, which you really don't need. You can just use the other gray color. Just order 3 of the other gray color that's called Misty Grey. You can just get 3 of those and don't even have to worry about replacing the Stormy Gray, because the only time I used Misty Grey was for the perimeter rounds. Okay, so it's almost a non-issue. And the other color that's missing is Duck Egg Blue, number 235. It's a light blue color. And I'm recommending that you substitute for the vanilla cream. You can substitute a color called Soft Fudge, or you could, rework, one of the other colors with that. Maybe replace the cream where I used vanilla cream, maybe use the lighter tan for those rows, and then replace the lighter tan with the Soft Fudge. I think it would still look fine. And the Misty Gray, like I said, you don't even need to worry about yeah, just substitute Misty Grey for the Stormy Grey. And washed teal, go ahead and substitute washed teal for the duck egg blue. So what that means is that you're going to have to look in the list below. There's also a list on the Lovecraft site for the colors in Wanderlust. And what you could do is just substitute those and order the yarn, you know, 2 of each, except 3 of the Misty Grey. Okay, so really you'd only need to order 19 scans instead of 20. And the good news is it's 30, I think it's 35% or 30 or 35% off right now. It's $2.10 a scan instead of the usual $3. Okay, so that's if you want to use the acrylic. Now, if you wanted to use the, okay, come on, brain, come on, brain. Okay, they have a yarn that's a little higher quality as far as the content. They have some that's a partly acrylic and partly wool. And if you go with that or even the wool pack, of course, it's going to cost a lot more, but you'll have a, you know, a different upgraded quality of yarn. I do believe they have the Wanderlust colors available in that, but that again is a bigger investment for you. Okay, so that's if you want to do the Paintbox yarns. Okay, this is another alternative. Use what you have on hand. Go through your stash. I know some of you out there have boxes of this worsted weight red heart yarn or Caron run pounders. Break that stuff out and join them on the fun. Break that out and you know, make a solid color one. Come up with your own color scheme. There's actually a page. It's the next to the last page, so it'd be the 16th page. And no, the pages are not numbered. I'll probably go in and change that in the near future. But my Pattern on Love Crafts has a worksheet, and you can just take that out and you can color it with crayons that are similar to the colors that you have on hand, or even just take a couple little snippets of each color and just paste them in those areas and just see what your eyes like, you know, what works well for your home. So don't feel like you have to only use this yarn. I mean, there's, you know, many other choices. So I just don't want anybody to feel like they can't do it without these colors. So, you know, by all means, you know, make this a stash buster. I think, you know, that would be a great thing to do. Okay, I'm way behind. Let me see if there are any, other questions I can ask or answer. Okay. I made up this pattern, I'm just reading out loud. Okay, so somebody said they bought the Paintbox yarn last night. That's great. Like I say, some of you guys in Europe, you ladies and gentlemen in Europe, I checked that this morning. It's there. Like you have all the colorways to choose from. There's only just one color. I think it's lipstick red is the only color not available in these yarns in the UK. But the US is suffering right now of Paintbox yarn shortage. So we have Kenny's Ray. Am I saying that right? From Frisco, Texas. Thanks for joining us. So Tracy has a question. Can I ask how a worsted weight is different from the DK in the UK? Okay. Yeah, DK weight, that's a great question. DK weight is just thinner than the worsted weight. A worsted weight would be the same as what you would be referred to in the UK as Aran weight. I think that's the synonym. And in the United States, the reason why I get a little hesitant to say or to answer the question, is it 4-ply or whatever, is because we don't use that system. We have a numbering system, and for our number 4, that represents worsted weight, which is like the red heart yarn, you know, super savers that we have in the US. And we have a lot more of that in the US. I think the lighter stuff is more readily available. When I went to Australia, which I think follows a lot after the UK system, they had a lot of DK weight and a lot of fingering weight. I'm trying to remember when I was in Sydney, but I went into this really nice store called Michaels and Sons. If you all in Australia know what I'm talking about, they had a really nice store right there on downtown Sydney, not too far from from the water there, and it was a lot of fun to be there. but their yarn tended to be thinner. They had more DK weight. I think they tended to cater more to knitters. Um, let's see, I saw a lot of other questions fly by here. So I hope that answers the question. In the US, a DK weight would be like a number 3. Um, let's see, sport weight is like a number 2, and fingering weight number 1, lace 0. So I mean it, and even within those categories, depending on the brand of yarn that you're talking about, and as well as the style from particular brands, it can vary. You know, like a number 4 weight yarn of the Paintbox is very, 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 very comparable to the Red Heart Super Saver. But now the Caron, I hope I don't get in trouble because I know a lot of you guys love the Caron Simply Soft, and I do too. I've used it before. Um, Not convinced it's the best thing for Afghans and things because I don't know that it holds up quite as well. It is very soft, feels really nice, but I don't know that it would survive as well as the Red Heart yarn. And I really hope I didn't make a bunch of enemies by saying that. I think there are different things for different purposes. Like, for example, this is a really fine, wonderful yarn. I would never use it for Afghans because it's just too fine of a yarn. The quality is different. It's great for you know, what I'm using it for, scarves and things like that. But I would never make a blanket out of it. It would take me forever for one thing, and the other, it it just needs more care. So that's what I mean by that. But anyway, the Caron Simply Soft yarn, if you put it side by side with a micrometer, something to measure things like millionths of an inch, you'll find that the Red Heart yarn is thicker than, and you can just feel that with your hands. But they're both a number 4. So that's why if you're, you know, it's always good to pay attention to, excuse me, the type of yarn that the designer used. You don't have to copy that yarn all the time, but you know, the more you know about yarn, the better. You'll know how to substitute better, and it's, you know, things are not always the same. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And I'm really missing a lot of questions, guys. Um, yeah, and Carrie, she says she's been crocheting for about a year and she's still learning. Gary, you know what? I've been crocheting for this coming year will be 50 years, and I am still learning about yarns. Every constant change is here to stay, and there's always something new to learn, and which makes it really fun and interesting. So it's kept this crocheter, who's also doing a little bit of knitting on the side, kept me from getting bored. I mean, this is just a fascinating craft, and there's lots to learn, but I say that to be encouraging to you all, not to be discouraged at all. You don't have to learn it all. You're not going to, but just enjoy the part that, you know, you get to play with. It's really fun. I see a question from Linda. Let's see. I have a question. When putting a ribbing on a garment, what is best to use? Double crochet versus, I guess she says triple, I guess you might triple, treble crochet, and the same hook used for a garment versus a smaller hook. That's an excellent question, Linda. And it really depends on the design of the garment, the type of yarn, the effect you're looking for. For the sweater recently, let me tell you what I did with that. My first sweater project, I actually changed how to crochet the ribbing on the garment, whether it was to be for a woman or for a man. Because for women, you know, to use one of my favorite TV shows, if you guys remember Gilligan's Island, and Gilligan was talking in one scene, and he's like, you know, Gilligan, ginger. Okay, so girls and guys are different, as much as the world wants to say that we're not different, and I'm not going to go there in this discussion, but we're different. I have hips. My husband, thankfully, does not. So, and so with that ribbing, I wanted to have a lot of ease. I wanted it to kind of to come out and to flatter a woman in that area, and not be real pulled tight. But now for a guy who doesn't have the added, you know, curves, I wanted it to be more straight, and maybe even to be a little tighter so that it would, you know, fit him fit a guy better than a girl, if that makes sense. So, and in order to do that, you really have to, I think, play around with your yarn and your hook, because even if the pattern, let's say, has you using the same hook and you find that it's pulling in too much, more than you'd like, because when you do the ribbing, and the ribbing is usually, usually use double crochets. I've never really done ribbing with treble crochets before, but with the ribbing, it tends to pull in a little bit, and it creates a little elasticity. And you know what I mean by ribbing, the thing that's around the edges of a lot of sweaters. Actually, I have a picture I can show you. This is some of the ribbing in the pattern here. And this is created with double crochets, front post double crochets and back post double crochets. Oh, I just made a mess here. So, gee, I hope I answered that question. So I think a lot of times, depending on your, if you're finding that it's pulling too much, you would just bump up to a larger size hook. If it's not elastic enough, if you want it to pull in a little bit more, you can always go down to a smaller size hook. So I mean, I think that's what I sensed in the way that you're asking the question, that you already know that it can vary quite a bit. And and as always, if you don't like the way the pattern is, don't like where the pattern is taking you, by all means jump in and change the pattern so that you get the effect that you would like. And also, as you all know, we all have different crocheting styles, which is why it's really good to follow a gauge and everything. All right, so I guess that was a lot of information, but that was such a great question, Linda. Thank you for asking that. Becky, if there are any questions here, I tell you what, Becky, I'm going to open my text bar on the other side here. So if there are any questions, if you wanted to text me separately, I've got that open, and I'll look at it. If you don't need to text me, but if there's something I need to know, please let me know. Let's see. Looking. Hi, Ruth Ann. Thanks for joining our discussion, my friend. Let's see. I'm so sorry, guys. I am not a speedy reader. And Sandra, you're such a sweet person that she's already thanking everybody for, for their help. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. And Becky is keeping us safe from those who apparently aren't so sweet, I'm noticing in the chat. Thank you for being there for us, honey. So Tracy Hughes has a question. How a worst, okay, I already answered that one. Yeah, okay. Okay, Linda Scroggins asked, yeah, I already answered that one. Okay, thank you for doing that. I think I'm getting caught up. Okay, Sheila has a good question. I see a couple others ahead of her. I'll try to get to that. Sheila Bates wants to know, how many yards of the yarn do you need if you're subbing Paintbox yarn for the blanket? Excellent question. I've tried to answer that as much as possible on the talk on the Facebook page, which I'll tell you about in just a second. You need approximately 400 yards of each color if you're using the 10 colors, or the 10, you can name them like colors 1 through 10. If you're doing that, you're going to need 400 yards. Is that right? That's right. 400 yards of 9 colors and 200 yards of 1 extra color. So approximately 3,800 yards, if that makes sense. That should add up mathematically. Okay? So I hope that answers that question. Says, do I have a tree of life? Let's see, do you have a tree of life pattern for a day almonds cardigan? I am not sure I understand that question, Linda. But if you want to contact me in an email to give me more specifics on that, email is in the description, but it's bonniebay@me.com. You can just email me, or put a question in the below once the video renders, but just contact me through email and I'll get more specifics on that, so I can try to fully answer that question. Linda Atkins, I'm new to your channel how do I find your crochet along? Thank you for that question, Linda. That's excellent. I have, as you would guess, a link in the video description below. Um, there is a brand new Facebook page. I mean, one way you can follow along is you can, if you could like my crochet Facebook page, is Bonnie Bay Crochet on Facebook. And there's also a separate one. If you go to Facebook and just look up Colorful Cables Throw Cal, C-A-L, that should pop up. And we have already, I think, over 300 people signed up for that, which maybe not sound like a lot of people, but 300 people went boom to that really quickly. So that Facebook page is for you guys. I'm gonna try to answer the questions there as much as I can. Since I'm here working kind of with my mother-in-law, I'll try to check a couple times a day, but just know that if you have a question, just post it there. I'll get to it eventually. I do not sit on, I can. Okay, so give me at least, give me 12 to 24 hours. But it won't take probably that long. I do take Sundays off. Sundays are my Sabbaths and my day to worship the Lord. So don't look for me to answer that on Sunday. Thank you for understanding that. But yeah, but definitely that page, that Facebook page is set up for everybody doing the cow. Feel free to post your pictures. I just want to see lots and lots of photos on this. Post your progress as you go. You don't have to wait till the whole thing is finished. Post your progress. Post any questions. If you think there's an issue with the written pattern, oh my goodness, please let me know. This has been, I went through it with the fine-tooth comb. We have, gone over that again and again and again, but there's always the possibility that there's a discrepancy or maybe a lack of understanding how the thing works out. There are, as you know, the videos on the channel here. So I hope that's helpful. If you're looking for the written pattern, that's on my Lovecraft store in the description box below. You'll find that link. And I don't know if I said this already, but we have already had over 10,000 views of video number 1. If you add the left-handed and the right-handed together, that's huge, you guys. I don't have videos do that well. Usually, in such a short amount of time. So thank you for your support, for getting the word out there, and just for participating with this. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Well, I mean, not so much tears, regarding getting the yarn, I guess, has gone into this, and I'm really excited about this. So video number 2 comes out this coming Monday. It's not going to be a premiere where there's a chat box on the side. It's just going to be released at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, as will the other videos that follow. So look for them Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, I have some other questions here. Could you use I love this yarn for the beautiful new project? Absolutely, Ginger. That's the Hobby Lobby stuff, isn't it? I personally haven't used that yarn as much just because there's not a Hobby Lobby in my neighborhood where I live in Maryland. There is actually a Hobby Lobby at Myrtle Beach. I haven't had time to go visit there yet. But by all means, yeah, definitely, just make sure you do the number crunching on, how many yards and how many scans. But they're hot. Yeah, I love this yarn. Is from what I've seen is great. So just crochet away with that, my friend. Let me see. A lot more things just came in here. Am I familiar with Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek number 4? I have seen it. I know that's also, this is a question. Thank you for sending that in, Shannon. Again, I'm sure it's fine. I have not personally used it. I'm not as familiar with that as I should be because there's not a Hobby Lobby. Okay, I won't complain anymore about that. But by all means, if it's a yarn that you're comfortable using for Afghans and you think it's going to do the trick and hold up through the washings, go for it. That's my word on that. And that's my main thing about Afghans is, it's got to be a yarn that's going to survive the washer and the dryer cycle in my household. I've got Afghans that are, actually I have an Afghan I'm going to show you all at some point that's as of this coming year is going to be 50 years old. So pick something that'll hold up, that'll last long, and that the moths won't completely devour. And yes, I've had that happen. And Kathy, thanks for your support there. She says she just downloaded the throw pattern. Thank you. Let's see. We have Lily Chong from Malaysia. Wow, welcome, my friend. She's, oh my goodness, it's 2 a.m. there. What are you doing up? Good grief. Thank you for joining us, though. And she's wishing us all a great day. Wow, how sweet is that? Go get some sleep, my friend. Just watch the rebroadcast. But thank you so much. That really blessed me that you're joining us in the middle of the night there. And Chris Anderson says, looking for a good website to help make patterns. Chris, are you looking to learn how to like write your own patterns, like as design your own patterns? I'll have to think about that, but if you wanted to just, again, email me, bonniebay@me.com, and I can maybe point you in a direction or point you, we can talk, okay? So definitely send me an email, and we can maybe do that better that way. Evelyn, thank you for posting that. She said that Hobby Lobby does ship online orders. Yeah, I think a lot of the stores do now. I think Michael's and all those do that as well. So if you see a really good yarn sale, you can always do that. And Sue Rich is joining us from Northern California. Welcome. And I think I am almost caught up. And so we have, is it Leah Fargo from San Jose, California. I have a song going through my head now, but I'm not going to sing it to you. And Sheila Dale says she's using the I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. Okay, it's $4.99 a scan. Probably has more yards in it, I'm guessing, than the ones that I'm talking about. The scans from Paintbox have 201 yards. So, yeah, thanks for that information, Sheila. Wow. So we have Carol Booth. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. She says she's joining us from, I'm afraid to say that, but she's calling from the UK. Thank you for your sweet words there, friend. Thank you for joining me. Well, you know what? Let's see, if we don't have any other questions, I think I'm going to sign off, but I do have something I wanted to read to you guys today. Yay, she said I got her name right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you're doing all right there in San Jose. Boy, I tell you, I love visiting your state this past summer. And it was super hot here in Maryland, and it was just like divine out there. We stayed in Anaheim and had a chance to say hey to Mickey. We were like 3 blocks away from, although they were very long blocks, but 3 blocks away from Disneyland. We could actually walk there. It was really kind of cool. Of course, you still had to pay to get it in the door, but and then took a trip down to San Diego, my first time there, and very, very, very nice, beautiful state that you have. Okay. Well, I wanted to read something to you this morning. This was just part of my reading, and this past year, my mom, many of you know, my mom passed at the end of 2018, and so this past whole year, I've just kind of camped out in the Book of Psalms. And kind of slowed it way down, and doing a lot of study. And for those of you who have never heard of Charles Spurgeon before, I wanted to show you this book that I'm using. This has nothing to do with crochet. This is just on a personal level. This is The Treasury of David. It's a commentary on the entire Book of Psalms. And I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that for this, but I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. But I just love this book. Spurgeon was a 19th century Christian Reformed preacher, pastor, and that's just really been great to been healing. It's been great to feed my soul during this time, and just just to take it a little bit slow, and get back in touch with just all that really matters in life, and what's the most important. And so I just wanted to read, and I'm going to try to do this without getting too emotional, but I just love reading God's word to you guys when I can. Again, not pushing this on you guys, but this is just part of who I am, and I just thought this might encourage you, especially during the storms in the winter, and things aren't always coming up cheerful, and everything going your way. I mean, it doesn't happen in anybody's life, but I wanted to give you a little bit of something here to hang on to, and this is what's got me through, and continues. I mean, we're all walking through struggles, but this is how you do it. Okay, this is Psalm 121. It's called a song of ascents. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Well, I hope you don't mind me sharing that with you. This is just, that was what I studied this morning. It just really blessed me. Just love, it's one of my favorite Psalms in the whole Bible. It's just very, very, very much a blessing to me. So Discovering Hope knows who Charles Spurgeon is. Yes, ma'am. He, good man, had a lot of trials in his life. And I think because he had, I can't go into it all, but he had all kinds of slander, gossip, terrible things happen to him. And one of my favorite things that I read that he said, when someone approached him, this was someone, I think, and even in his church, and said, do you hear what people are saying about you? And rather than get all upset about that, his response was precious to me, and it's one that I have to remember too whenever I hear stuff if about me or whatever, and he just would laugh and say, they don't know the half of it. And I just think that's amazing, because this man, again, lived through a time, if you can imagine, without antibiotics. I believe went through a time of the plague, and he was over, I believe, he was in London, actually. We got to see a church building that still remains of I believe that was started, well, he had preached in, at least down over in London. So lived through a lot of trials, a lot of stuff that we cannot even imagine, and yet it only made him stronger. God just supported him and made him even stronger. And I know a lot of you are going through a lot too, and just hope that encourages you. Just where your strength is. It's not inside here. It comes from someone much better, much bigger, much greater. But okay, end of sermon. But I just love you all. I just want you to be encouraged, and have a wonderful week. And thanks again, Becky, for taking care of us and for being our moderator. And I hope that I can see you guys next week, but there's a good chance that I'm not going to be able to do next week. I'm going to actually be going to the doctor during this time. I'm flying back home, have a couple doctor's appointments. It's all good. It's just normal checkup things that if you don't do the appointments, it'll take another 6 months to get them scheduled, if you know what I mean. So it just so happens that one of them is during the Friday time. I could maybe try Saturday, but then again, I'm going to be spending just that small precious time with my husband and daughter in Maryland, and then I catch a plane and fly back down here to South Carolina in the evening. So I think I'm going to just say I am not going to be able to see you guys next week, but the week after, I definitely will try to do what I can for another live broadcast. If you need any questions answered in the meantime, just you can get me through the social media spots, through the Facebook page, and of course the links below for my email if you need something directly answered. But have a wonderful week, and just let you know I love you guys. Bye bye.